If you have to get your background checks run, you have to go ahead and pay the $150, and then you send a receipt in showing that you paid for it. And I will send an email giving you the email address that you send it to. So you will have to pay for it. If you've already paid for it, I know there's several of you that have already gotten on it. You can send in your receipt and they will reimburse you for it. So send in those receipts, and you can start using the background check system. And guys, it's for 1 year. They're only paying for it this first time. So you're gonna have to start putting $10 aside a month to get prepared for the next month. We're not gonna be able to whine and complain about having to pay that $150 every single year. We'll just have to be prepared. And I will also send out the contact people and the websites for being able to get through that system, because they've been doing a whole bunch of videos on it. And they've also got step-by-step how to use that system. I do not know how to use that system. I cannot help you with that. There are a few providers that have made it through it, so I can probably connect you to some of those. But otherwise, you're going to have to, and I can't even, I'm not going to be able to use the system because I'm not licensed. So this is something that we're going to have to all just work together and try to help each other. The other thing is that the COVID hotline that is exclusively for family, or is for childcare, is going to be closed during the regular holiday season. But they said to go ahead and call it because it needs to be reported, and that they will be checking, leave a message that they will be checking the message to find out. I want to share my screen. What screen do I want to share? They will be checking it to see if, where is my share screen? Okay. They will be checking it, and they will be getting back with you. So be sure and continue to use it, but just know that you're going to have to leave a message. Okay, we're going to get to it, and I'm going to be, you guys, number one, know that I'm not real tech savvy, so you're going to have to bear with me and offer me a lot of grace, because I have a bunch of videos that I want to share with you guys and some different websites for this one. Don't forget to put your PDR number in the chat box. And Debbie Jo, after you get these written down for the first giveaway, the on-time giveaway, we'll have to stop that. The other thing is, I want to see in the chat box, because I've really been enjoying some of you guys' answers. When are you going to decorate for Christmas, or have you already decorated for Christmas? Is it too early? I am planning on I was actually planning on putting my Christmas tree up today with my grandkids, but that was not going to happen. So I am going to do it this weekend. So put in the chat box when you're going to decorate for Christmas, and whether you're one of those. I am normally a bah humbug. It's not allowed till after Thanksgiving, but this year I just need something that makes me smile. So I am going to, that's why I like seeing you guys' face. You guys make me smile. So put down when you are going to decorate for Christmas in the chat box. So, okay, let's get busy. Today we are going to be talking about some really fun stuff, and there's, and I teasingly say that because we're going to be talking about sanitation, food safety, and foodborne illnesses. Those don't sound like fun at all. The reason that I decided to do this with our food training is, number one, sanitation is so important right now. It's always important, but it's so important right now with COVID. And I honestly feel like there is sometimes confusion about what sanitation actually means. The second thing is, second and third thing, food safety and foodborne illnesses. There were a bunch of us that had to do Serve Safe, and a bunch of you guys are going to see things that are familiar to you that we learned in Serve Safe, because that's where I got a lot of this information. But when I was sitting through the Serve Safe class, I was like, everybody needs to know this. Am I just the only idiot that did not know these things? Because there was a lot of it I didn't know that's very important for our business. So The first thing that we need to realize is what's the difference between cleaning, sanitizing, and disinfecting? Because a lot of times we'll say, well, it's clean. Cleaning just removes the dust, debris, and dirt from a surface by scrubbing or washing. It's kind of like washing your hands. Yes, you're getting the germs off of your hands, but you're not actually killing any germs. You're not getting rid of them. You're just moving them around. So if you're just washing your surfaces with soap and water, all you're doing is moving the germs around. You're not getting rid of them. Sanitizing is removing and lowering the number of germs to a safe level as judged by the public health standards. But once again, you're not killing all the germs. You're just making it, you know how they allow a certain amount of fecal matter in your food? It's kind of the same situation with sanitizing. You still have some bacteria, you still have some viruses, you still have the germs, but it's at an acceptable level according to public health standards. But then disinfecting actually destroys and kills bacteria and viruses, you know, to make it to where you're going to be lowering the risk of spreading the infection. Once again, you can't kill everything, and you can actually disinfect without cleaning an item. So it's kind of one of these things that these are almost like a pyramid. You need to clean first, then you can do the sanitizing and the disinfecting. What it boils down to is, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to wash your hands? Then all you're going to do is wash it with soap and water. You can sanitize with a sanitizing solution, but you never want to disinfect your hands. If you're using a disinfectant wipe or something on your hands, you are actually, number one, probably going to break out. Number two, you're actually killing good bacteria that needs to be on your skin. If you're washing vegetables, you certainly don't want to use any kind of sanitizing solution. You just want to use water or an approved cleaning solution that's made for food. But are you wanting to sanitize your food surface areas, or do you want to disinfect areas that are coming into contact with lots of little fingers and little hands? One of the things that you want to make sure is if it's something that the children are putting in their mouths, or if you're using it for a food surface area, you've got to make sure that it is approved to be for food service, or that they're allowed to put it in their mouths. Most, and I say most, disinfectants are chemicals that cannot be put in your mouth. I'm seeing a lot of people using the sprayers. And if you'll notice, when you use the sprayers on your tables and whatnot, the first question that comes out of my mouth is, what's in there? Because if it's a chemical, it's got to be food surface approved. Some can be both. Clorox bleach is your best friend. I shouldn't say Clorox. Bleach is your best friend. It can be both. It can be diluted to a point of being a sanitizing solution. If you have it diluted to a point of being a sanitizing solution, you could actually spray it on your clothes and it's not going to make those spots. But if you are using it at a level that it's a disinfectant, then you have to be careful about what you get it on, because it's going to make the spots on your clothes. The health department you can purchase those test strips. You guys that keep over 10 children know those test strips, because you actually have to have them for the health department, and they will tell you exactly how much to dilute your solution to be able to make it to whether it's a sanitizer or whether it's a disinfectant. Make sure that you are selecting a product that will do the job. Does the wording say disinfecting? If it says disinfecting, if you use the recommendations on the label, then it will do what it's supposed to do. Then you can dilute it to make it sanitize. Does it say it kills 99.9% of germs? Those are all going to be a disinfectant type. Now I can't remember whether I'm supposed to go, yes, to the next one. Okay. 6 steps for safe and effective disinfectant use. Once again, remember, this is for disinfecting. This is for the things that you want to make sure kill germs. Check that your product is EPA approved. I'm going to show you this website here in just a minute after I go through these steps, because it's really a neat website to get on. Step 2, read the directions. Once again, you hear me say it for food, you're going to hear me say it for cleaning solutions. Read the label, follow the product's directions, check whether it can be used for certain surfaces. I see a lot of these used on tables. If you'll read the back, it says, the first thing it says on the back, the easy way to clean and disinfect, use on hard, non-porous, non-food contact surfaces. And I see you guys grab these a lot, and you will normally see me grab them and say, you guys can't use these, make a bleach solution. Pre-clean the surface, so wash the surface because you want to get rid of the surface dirt, and then follow the contact time. Let me see if I can get to my other screen because I want to show you some contact times. Well, okay, escape. That's what I need to do. Or maybe not. Like I said, you guys are going to have to bear with me.
End slideshow, Tammy.
Where?
Top right.
Top right. Now I've got stop share and I've got screen sharing. More? What'd you say to look for?
You're trying to end your PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, because I got to find my other.
Then end show to the left.
I've got new share. Would that work? Maybe. No. Stop share. There it is now. No, that's stop share. Darn it. 1 second,
That's okay.
guys.
You can do that and share again. Just make sure when you share again, you click the box at the bottom that says share your sound as well, since you're going to show a video.
Share computer sound. Share. But it's not letting me escape. It's not letting me escape full screen view. Exit full screen. There we go. Okay. You just got to keep clicking. Okay. This is the website called epa.gov/LISTN. If you go here, you see right here where it says the tool under things to know, the tool. You can actually look up your disinfectant and it will tell you what it can be used for. You have to look up the registration number, which is inside the label at the very bottom. You can find it. It's a registration number, and it will tell you exactly how to use it. Or you can go to this browse all, and it's got every single kind of cleaner that you can imagine. And look at these contact times in minutes. You would have to leave it on the surface, some of these, for 10 minutes. You don't have that kind of time. So you need to check to make sure, because that's what you have to look for, is what exactly is the contact, how long do you have to leave it on for? This one, 581379. 5813, whoops, -79. Only has to be in contact for for 30 seconds. And it's a disinfectant. So it's good for what you're using it for, but not for food surface. You've got to make sure that you guys are using it for the correct thing. So make sure and check that website out. It's EPA, it's right here, epa.gov, LISTN. If you're using a disinfectant, use gloves and wash your hands, because remember, you've got those chemicals on your hands, and then lock it up. If the cleaners, these cleaners that say keep away from children, you've got to make sure that they're away from children. Hand washing. We cannot say enough about hand washing right now. And when I'm watching you guys hand wash, I'm watching to make sure you're washing your hands, you're doing your fingers, you're washing the backs, you're doing it for 20 seconds. You know, I'm probably one of the worst when it comes to when I'm getting ready to cut up vegetables and stuff, to just wash my hands like this. Right now, you've got to make sure that if you're serving food to someone else, you've got to make sure that you're getting all surfaces, including your fingernails and up on your arms. It's very, very important. Make sure if you blow your nose, if you cough or you sneeze, touching an animal, touching the garbage. I mean, there's just too many times right now that you have got to make sure that hand washing is done appropriately. Great, it keeps coming into my thing. Okay, let's see if we can figure this out. Let's see if you can hear it. I do want you guys to watch. It's a real quick video. I'm not doing the whole video, so don't get worried.
Hand washing is something we all learned at a very young age. But if you want to work as a food handler, it's important to relearn this task in the proper way that complies with the health department guidelines. But first, let's review when it's important to wash up.
Wash your hands throughout the day, even when hands look clean, to keep germs off your body and the food you prepare. Always wash before you begin food preparation, or if you've been contaminated by exposure to potential germs. Contamination can be caused by using the bathroom, touching one's face or nose, handling raw meat, fish, or poultry, sneezing, coughing, or blowing one's nose, handling garbage or dirty dishes, handling animals, or using chemicals, or after taking a break, eating, or smoking. If you aren't sure if a wash is necessary, wash anyway, just to be safe. Proper hand washing is a 6-step process that requires a hand washing sink with hot and cold running water, soap, and paper towels or other single-use drying method. Step 1. Get hands wet to help the soap work. Step 2. Apply soap and scrub. Remember to pay attention to your entire hand when washing. Step 3. Scrub your hands together for 10 to 15 seconds. Step 4. Scrub the backs of your hands and between your fingers, a common breeding ground for bacteria. Scrub your forearms. They frequently touch food prep surfaces, and utensils. Step 5. Rinse hands to send the soap suds and germs down the drain. Rinse for about 5 seconds to fully remove the soap. Step 6. After rinsing, dry hands and forearms using either a disposable paper towel, air dryer, or a continuous cloth towel system that supplies a clean towel each time. It's important to know that hand sanitizers may be helpful on clean hands, but are not substitutes for hand washing. In fact, in some cases, double hand washing may be required. Always remember that hand washing is the most important food safety tool to get rid of the germs that make people ill. When in doubt, wash.
Okay. Now let's get out of here. Okay. The reason that I wanted to show that is because, number one, it is the most important step in being able to screen share, cut down on germs and everything that's going on right now. But the other reason, did I get rid of everything? I got rid of everything, didn't I? The other reason that I wanted to show it was because I have been noticing people getting very comfortable with the hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is not a substitute for hand washing. If I see you squirting hand sanitizer on children's hands, I'm going to tell you to get them up and go wash their hands. They have to have their hands washed before sitting at the table. Now, if they have washed their hands and they're sitting at the table and you notice that they have picked their noses or done something that you feel uncomfortable, you do not necessarily have to have them go back and rewash their hands. You can squirt a little bit of hand sanitizer on them at that point in time, but why did it do that? But you cannot use it as a for hand washing. Wet wipes are also not to be used instead of soap and water. The other thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of is that there have been a lot of the hand sanitizers that have been recalled. Make sure to go to the fda.gov/hand sanitizer list. I'll be sending all these out in an email to check to make sure that yours is not on the recall list, because they have found, we actually gave out some at the very beginning that Child Care Aware had gotten that is on the recall list. So you'll want to check that out, fda.gov/hand sanitizer list. The last thing that I wanted to do about sanitation is to make sure that you guys are aware of what I'm looking for, because I'm going to get very, very picky about this because of with our cases going up and with the Department of Human Services being really over aware of what we're doing. I need to make sure that I'm doing my part to help you guys be in compliance. I'm going to be checking to make sure that the food preparation area is clean. So if you've got a bunch of stuff stacked and in the way, it's going to have to be gone, and the area is going to have to be washed and sanitized before you are able to do meal service. And of course, the individual plates, bowls, and utensils clean and sanitized. Or if you're using throwaways, can they be discarded? I look to make sure that the caregiver and the children wash their hands before eating. And then, of course, I always ask you guys, do you use your dishwasher or do you use bleach sanitizing solution? You guys over 10 can't use your dishwasher unless you have a commercial dishwasher. So before we go on to food safety, if you have a question, Debbie Jo might have some questions that have been put in the chat box. You are able to unmute yourself if you want to ask the question, or Debbie Jo, is there anything that we need to go over?
No, the only thing was emailing the EPA site, but you said you're already going to send those out.
Yes, I will send those when I make the link to rewatch this video. And I apologize that I'm going to be going back and forth because I exited out of my video. So I'm going to have to be going back and forth. But I'll send the link back to where if it gets confusing, you guys can watch it again. And I will also have all those links. So the first giveaway is And if the McGuires were on here, they could tell you how cool these are. These are it's Pampered Chef, but it's a cookie house mold. You can actually make, what do they call them? What do they call those that you make at Christmas time? We make graham cracker houses.
Gingerbread house.
Gingerbread houses. Thank you. Gingerbread houses. You can make gingerbread houses out of these, and you don't have to build it. Well, you still have to build it after you get them made, but they're made out of a material that you can actually cook in them and pop them out real easy. So who gets this one, Debbie, Joe?
Deb Whitman.
Deb Whitman, yay! I'll get it out to you, Deb, when I come get the Cozy Coop from Barbara Aman. She'll have it last, so I will bring it by and drop it off to you. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is our food safe? You would assume it is, right? We spend so much time making sure that our environment is safe, our physical environment. We spend lots of times putting electrical outlets in and making sure that our playgrounds have the right fall zone. But you just assume if you buy it from Walmart and bring it to your house, it should be safe. That is not always the case. There are all kinds of things that contaminate food. Some of it you have control of it. Some of it you're not going to have control over. There's your main goals are to make sure that you can recognize and take care of these potential hazards if they come into your facility, into your home. Biological can be caused by the animals. That's where you're going to get the recalls for the E. coli in the food. Sometimes it's in the air or in the dirt, the soil. You don't have much control over this other than to make sure that you are on the recall list. And there's actually, I found out the other day, I have not found it yet, but I was told, so if anybody's got this website, let me know because I couldn't find it yet. We have the recall list that's for all the toys and the children's clothes and that kind of the equipment, but there's actually supposed to be a recall site that's strictly for food. This has been getting to be worse and worse, guys. I've noticed that on a basically monthly basis, I've been finding that there's been, lettuce or baby food or that kind of stuff that's gotten recalled. So we're really going to have to stay on top of this. The one thing in the biological part that you can have control over is the pathogens that are put in because of personal hygiene. So we're going to be talking more about it. Chemicals, as we discussed earlier, are contaminated because of the things that you use. Either you're not being safe enough and you're using things around the food that get inside the foods, or you're using chemicals that aren't supposed to be used on food surface contact areas. Then the physical contaminants you also have control over. Those are the things that you're going to look for that fall into your food. Metal shavings from your can opener. Make sure your can openers are in good shape. Bag ties. Your fingernails, make sure that you're keeping your fingernails cut and groomed. A lot of times if you cut yourself and you've got a bandage on your hand, it's time to wear gloves when you're getting ready to prepare food for your children, because those are the types of things that can drop into the food that you have control over. These are the things that you have the most control over. And I think this is what I learned the most from in ServSafe is the time temperature abuse. Foods that have been stayed out too long. I've had here recently, it's probably been more than ever. And I know it's because we have so much on our minds with the cleaning and the COVID. I'm finding a lot of refrigerators and freezers that are over the regular temperature. Now, if I'm there and I'm watching you open and closing the refrigerator, and then I ask you for your temperature and it's too high, I will normally say, check it in an hour, send me something telling me what it is in an hour. Because if you've opened and closed that door, it is gonna make those temperatures go up, but usually not over a couple of degrees. It should be 40 or below. If it's 41, 42, I will normally say, call me in an hour, or I'll email you back in an hour and let me know what the temperature is. Because if your refrigerator, your freezer is not the correct temperature, the things that are sitting in there could possibly become unsafe. If you bring food out to prep it, and then you get busy with a child and it's been sitting out too long, it can also start growing pathogens that are going to cause problems. If your food is between 41 degrees and 135 degrees, it's growing bacteria. It is going to get, it could possibly get someone sick. Cross-contamination is the other thing that causes bacteria to grow inside your food. If you cut meat, raw meat, and then you use the same food surface without sanitizing it to cut vegetables, you are cross-contaminating. If you use the same knife without washing and sanitizing it, you are cross-contaminating. If you put meat above your vegetables inside your refrigerator, you could possibly be cross-contaminating. If you're using the same wiping cloths over and over and over, you could be cross-contaminating. One of the things that I hadn't thought about with ServSafe, when they mentioned this, I hadn't thought about it. Always air dry your dishes, or you're going to have a stack of towels to dry with, because if you're using the same cloth to dry with, you could possibly be cross-contaminating. Poor personal hygiene, and this is where it gets really gross. And I see it, guys. You guys know that I see it, because I always tell you, you're going to need to wash your hands. One of the things that I see the most of, that it's just habit, it's not something that we mean to do, but we're prepping our food, and our hair gets in our face. If I see you do that, I want the next thing for you to do is to wash your hands. If I see this, I need you to wash your hands. And it's not just about the bathroom, and it's not just about the starting. We have to think about what we're doing with our hands when we are prepping food. The easy things, of course, you guys know, if you're coughing or sneezing, if you have a wound, those kind of things, those are easy things. But one of the things I see a lot is somebody bending down to cut their food or serve their food, and then they start brushing their hair back. And I'm like, you have to wash your hands again, because you've touched something that could possibly contaminate the food. Poor cleaning and sanitizing. Of course, we've talked about, you have to make sure that your equipment's clean, your utensils are clean and sanitized, your food services are clean and sanitized. Those things are basically common sense. Now, let me see. I'm going to have to try to find, and I'm going to have to go completely out and back in, and I apologize, because I exited out of everything instead of just that one video. You guys can see everybody that's sent in their food forms. If you don't see your name, I need your food forms. I haven't printed them off yet. So let's see. This is this one.
Welcome to part 2, health and hygiene. What is biological contamination? How does food worker health affect safety? What should you do when you're sick? And what does good personal hygiene mean? Find the answers to these and other important food safety questions, including proper hand washing and when it's important, how to avoid bare hand contact with ready-to-eat foods, glove use, and how personal habits can affect food safety.
Of all the types of hazards that can arise from unsafe food handling practices, biological
It's in the right one. Sorry. Sorry. I thought that was a little long.
In the next segment, we'll explain temperature control, including the danger zone, hot and cold holding, proper cooking temperatures, thawing, and cooling food. Foods must be cooked and held at correct temperatures, and cooks must use a metal stem or digital thermometer to ensure that meat, poultry, seafood, and other cooked foods reach safe minimum internal temperatures.
Obviously, the only way to be sure that you've cooked something to the right temperature is with a probe thermometer.
Remember, always hold cold foods at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or less. Always hold hot foods at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or above. Most bacteria do not grow in very hot or cold temperatures. The danger zone in which bacteria can grow rapidly is between 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Potentially hazardous foods may not be at room temperature for more than 4 hours while being prepared. When you're working with food, it's key to work quickly in small batches. Keep the rest of the food you're not working with hot or cold, either below 41 degrees if it's cold, or above 135 degrees if it's hot food. If food has been left at room temperature for an unknown amount of time, throw it away. It could be unsafe to eat. Keeping hot foods hot, also known as hot holding, is important because cooking in itself does not kill all bacteria, and bacteria resumes growth if foods are allowed to drop into the temperature danger zone. To ensure temperature safety, steam tables, soup warmers, and other hot holding units must be turned on and heated up before hot food is put into them. Use thermometers to check the temperature of the food, and be sure to cover pans and stir food often to distribute heat evenly. And remember to never mix cold foods with cooked foods.
Cold cooked food that needs to be reheated for hot holding must be heated to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds within 2 hours, before being put onto the steam table to be held at 135 degrees Fahrenheit. The steam table should already be hot before food is placed inside.
Temperature control is a strong defense against foodborne illness and injury, and cooking meats is no exception. The guidelines for cooking meat are crucial to keeping customers healthy. Know the proper cooking temperatures for each type of meat, and check your temperatures with the appropriate thermometer. But depending on the type of meat you're serving, safe temperatures can vary. Temperature control is also vital when it comes to handling cold foods. When practicing cold holding, always be mindful of the danger zone and keep cold foods at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. Foods can be kept in a refrigerator, ice, or other approved methods to keep bacteria from growing. When using ice to keep food cold, the ice must surround the container to the top level of the food.
When you're thawing food, it's time to think about the danger zone again.
Which would be any time the food is above 41 degrees. Acceptable methods of safely thawing frozen foods include: in the refrigerator, put frozen foods in the refrigerator until thawed. This is the slowest and safest method. Thaw raw meats on the bottom shelf or in a container to avoid cross-contamination with other foods. Under cold running water, keep the food covered in cold 70 degrees Fahrenheit or colder, running water until it's thawed. Or you may thaw as part of the cooking process or in the microwave for certain foods. Small items, such as frozen burritos, may be thawed while they cook.
In addition to hot and cold holding, proper cooking temperature, and the correct thawing techniques, special care must be taken when cooling unserved leftovers or storing freshly cooked food, because bacteria can form quickly as food transitions through the temperature danger zone.
It goes back to the danger zone. You want to move food through the danger zone as quickly as possible. For instance, you make some hot food and you want to reserve it the next day. Your goal is to safely cool the food from 135 degrees to below 41. The key to cooling food safely is in 2 phases.
Cool hot food from 135 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit within 2 hours, and within a total of 6 hours from 135 degrees Fahrenheit to 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Improper cooling is a leading contributor to foodborne illness. We can't stress enough how important it is to please take cooling seriously. Move the food through the danger zone as quick as possible, because bacteria can produce toxins that are not destroyed by reheating temperatures. Cooling food is often the riskiest step in food preparation. Here's a quick outline on the facts of temperature control. The danger zone is between 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 135 degrees Fahrenheit. Food must not remain in the danger zone for longer than 4 hours. Hold cold foods at 41 degrees Fahrenheit or less. Hold hot foods at 135 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. Know the proper cooking temperatures for meats, poultry, and seafood, and use the correct probe thermometer. Follow the steps for safe thawing and cooling of food.
Time now for a closer look at what.
Okay. The biggest thing that I wanted to make sure that everybody saw was the part about the danger zone, and making sure, I don't think we can stress it enough, to make sure that you are only keeping food out when you're actually preparing it. Sometimes I'll see, after you guys have served the children, the food will sit out there for long extended periods of time. And of course, like you saw, they said that it could stay out for up to 4 hours. But just the more time that you think about, that it's growing that whole time. So if you can do it, the parts to go ahead and put it back into the refrigerator, especially like milk or processed meats, as far as like your luncheon meats and those kind of things, it's better to go ahead and get those put back in the refrigerator. The thawing food, I also wanted to make sure that you guys saw that, because it cannot be left out on the counter to thaw. It either needs to be put in the refrigerator overnight or whatever. You can put it in running water. The running water needs to be like drinkable water at 70 degrees or lower. Microwave it to thaw it, or it can be part of the cooking process. And once again, they mentioned not to put cold and hot food together. So if you've already got hot food and you're trying to make more and you put cold food in it, that's another danger zone. He did go over the meat cooking temperatures. That's huge. Make sure that you cook your meat to what is the required temperatures for it to be safely fed to children. Make sure that you never, ever, ever serve any kind of raw food to children. Sushi, those kind of things, I doubt anybody ever does, but you have to be real careful about that. I know you don't in your child care, but my sister's one of the worst to serve sushi to her grandkids, and I'm like, you should not do that. Okay, before we go on to the last topic of foodborne illnesses, Debbie Jo, is there any questions?
Somebody asked, is there a particular cleaner or disinfectant that is recommended for cleaning tables and surfaces?
Bleach.
Bleach.
Bleach is honestly your best friend. I know we try to look for all kinds of things that'll make it easier. There are others. Don't get me wrong. There are others, but bleach is the best.
And then Michelle said something about mentioning the scanner app.
Scanner app. Scanner app. Oh, I'm going to do that on the documentation one. That's going to be next week. The scan. Yes. Michelle Mendoza. Yes. I'm actually going to show that next week. That's going to be on the documentation one. Okay. Our next giveaway, a 3-piece peeler set, and the peelers do different things. Who gets the peeler set?
Wendy, Lynn.
Wendy. So I will get those up to you the next trip that, well, probably when I bring the Cozy Coop up there, because that's in a week or two. So I will bring those up to you. Okay, our last section, and I'm probably going to skip the videos. So when you see the little thing that says videos, just ignore it because it's taken me too long to get those pulled back up. Foodborne illness. Who's at risk? Everybody, of course. I'm sure there's people on here that have actually had food poisoning or different things like that. But the people who are most at risk are these 3 groups. And of course, as you can see, preschool age children, you could eat something and it would not affect you, but it would affect the children in your care. So that's why I think it's so very, very important that we go over the foodborne illnesses. We all know the main ones, but I wanted to mention a couple that have been coming out recently a lot. Listeria, we talked about that last year with the, I mean, you can actually get it from raw vegetables, but one of the places that they see it a lot are like luncheon meat, or your meats that you are serving for quick meals. Luncheon meat, processed meat, soft cheeses. It can cause blood poisoning and meningitis. It can actually kill someone. So that's one that you're going to have to really watch and do your part to keep those. That it's a time temperature control problem a lot of times. Hepatitis A is a liver disease, and it is transmitted from someone that actually has the disease through lack of hygiene. So if you have any of the symptoms of hepatitis A, or if your help has any of the symptoms of hepatitis A, you need to get them tested, because that one's a big one that could possibly be passed on to the children. This toxoplasmosis is actually a new one that has come out recently. It's a parasite that is spread through undercooked and raw meat. So that's one where the temperature control comes in huge. It is going to be a neurological condition, and it's been really out in the news last year. Of course, the big 6 we all know, and probably some of us have had it. Norovirus is huge in childcare. It's lack of personal hygiene, not washing your hands. Salmonella, the E. coli, all of those are things that come through usually some kind of a contaminant inside food. We're not going to do the video, even though I'd love for you to see it, because it was a little girl who had gotten a foodborne illness and actually had to have liver transplant. So 5 ways to do your part. Purchasing food from unsafe sources. Do you guys remember the guys that used to come around in the meat trucks that they had brought their meat up from Texas and they were giving it away? That is not a safe food source. You need to be buying it from safe food sources, your grocery store, your meat markets that are, have the USDA qualifications. But if you have someone coming and selling ribeye steaks door to door, that is not a safe food source. Failing to cook your meat to the correct temperature. One of the worst is hamburger and chicken. If you're serving drumsticks next to the bone, a lot of times will not be cooked thoroughly. hamburger meat, if you're grilling it outside or if you're putting it in your oven, because remember, we cannot fry, it's probably not going to get cooked through. So you need to check it and with the correct thermometer. Holding food at an incorrect temperature. Make sure that needs to be one of your daily checks. And like I said, I know there's a lot to think about right now, but you need to be making sure that you are checking your refrigerator and your freezer temperatures first thing in the morning before you open them. Refrigerators need to be 40 and below. Freezers need to be 0 or below. I'll never forget when Debbie Jo and Patty had to start checking milk. One of the things I used to do is pour my milk while I was prepping the food. And then I would get, that was the time that I had time to pour my milk. And then I would serve everything at the same time. And Debbie Jo checked my milk temperature and my milk within, we're talking probably 10 or 15 minutes was up in the 50 degrees. From then on, I would pour my milk and stick it back in the refrigerator and serve it from the refrigerator. So those are all things, those are why we check those temperatures, guys. Cross-contamination. Once again, don't forget, make sure your workstation are clean, that your cutting boards are cleaned and sanitized in between. Your utensils are cleaned and sanitized in between. You separate your raw from your ready to eat, and you clean and sanitize before and after tasks. You can also buy already prepared like salad mixes and those kind of things, and then you don't have to worry about washing your vegetables when you get them home. That's one of the things you need to always never skip that step either. Make sure if you're buying fruits and vegetables fresh, wash them. Even if you're not going to use the peel, you need to wash them, because when you're cutting through the peel, you could actually contaminate your food. Poor personal hygiene. Make sure that you're washing your hands and keeping your nails and whatnot clean. I know the Fletcher family did something just recently with this clean hand, dirty hand on a piece of bread. And Leon actually posted it, and it was pretty cool, the difference between when they washed their hands and touched the piece of bread and when they didn't wash their hands and touched the piece of bread. It was pretty amazing, the contaminants that were on the dirty hand bread. Leon, do you have anything you want to say about that? You can unmute yourself, I think, or maybe I can unmute me. There.
No, that was actually, it was one of our daughter's experiments she had to do in class. She had to take the food safety class in high school this year.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat. I liked that you posted it, because it really was, it looked just like this one at the bottom. It was a nasty piece of bread.
Yeah.
So.
But you put enough peanut butter on it, you didn't taste it. It was fine.
Children didn't know any different, did they? They did not know any different. Okay. Debbie Jo, and I need to come stop share. Let me see if I can, it just tells me I can mute all. You guys can all, you can unmute as you want to, if you have a question, or Debbie Jo.
There was one other question. What's the difference between using bleach wipes or bleach diluted in a bottle?
I guess it's the chemicals that are in it, because if you look, you just have to look to see what it says about the food surface. Because if it says on it, mine at the very top says the easy way to clean and disinfect, use on hard, non-porous, non-food contact surfaces. Now you could use this and disinfect, but then you're going to have to come back behind it and wash again. So say, for instance, you use this to wipe down and you let it sit for the 30 seconds. You can come back through with a washcloth and wipe your table off. But to me, it would be easier just to spray with your bleach bottle let it set the amount of time that it needs to, and then serve your food. What's yours say, Leon?
Well, mine, it says, I have to get my old people eyes on it. Use this product on washable, hard, non-porous surfaces of bathrooms, fixtures, counters, doorknobs, telephones, and computer keyboards. It doesn't say nothing about.
So
food.
it's probably safe for food surface.
Okay, so that would be
As
okay.
long as it doesn't say, it will say non-food contact. It will
This is
say
the
that.
Great Value brand.
Okay, is it, and it's disinfectant wipes.
Yeah, 99.9% virus.
You'll have to check to see how long it has to sit on the surface.
Oh, crap.
30
It
minutes.
says contact time for 1 minute for HIV-1 and 10 minutes for HPV and HC, and use a 10-minute contact time for disinfecting against all other viruses. So it'd be 10 minutes, wouldn't it?
Yep.
I mean, you can still do it. It just has to.
You can still do it. Just keep the children away from it. You
Yeah.
know, that could be your first thing that you do before you start prepping your food.
Yeah.
You could
That
do
works.
it. And like I said, you can use these, but if it says anything about non-contact, non-food surfaces, you're going to have to come back and wash it.
Got it.
That the only question, Debbie?
Only one I've got.
Well, good. Anybody else before we do our last giveaway? Okay. This one was donated by our friend Colleen Bachman that is from Farmington. They are the rocks that are painted that have the hungry caterpillar. It's the very hungry caterpillar story, and a little stuffed caterpillar in the book.
Let me have it.
So, who gets that one?
Barbara Amon.
Barbara, I'm going to see you on Friday, so I will bring it to you when I pick up the Cozy Coot. Does anybody have anything else, anything they'd like to mention? Don't forget your dues. Please get those in. Don't forget to send me a text, an email, whatever, telling me that when you're closing for the holiday, for Thanksgiving. Don't let the holiday throw you for claim, please. And because we've got one Monday after Thanksgiving that is still in November. So don't get off your schedule and forget to send me things on Tuesday. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting or anything, any questions? Because I'm going to let you guys go. And I'll be sending all those different websites and the link to this video. Okay? If that's it, I'll see you guys next week. We've got one more. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.